Helen. I am the hiring manager here for Archangel Aesthetics, and I'll be conducting your interview today. So a little thing before we start, are you okay with me taking notes while we do the interview?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Do you happen to have a resume on you? Thank you so much. Okay, so Tareen, before we start, do you have any questions for me before we go into it?
Not at this moment.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to start with, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, currently I'm a student at Seneca College. I'm in the 3-year program, which is an advanced diploma, and I'm just an enthusiast about skincare and the beauty industry, and I highly enjoy every aspect of it, the nails, the makeup, all portions of it, and I've always just had a genuine passion for it, and I just want to start with my career now.
Good. Okay. So, what are your goals for the future? So what do you see yourself doing in 5 years from now?
My goal for the future is to help build a company and help promote them and spread the true meaning of beauty and help just spread their philosophy, their concept out and reach out to others and take all the misconceptions of beauty and the so-called industry and help show them what the true beauty really is.
Thank you. Okay, so, Tareen, give me an example of a time you faced a conflict while working on a team. So how did you handle it and how did you go about the relationship with your team in resolving the conflict?
When I was actually working for Hudson Bay, there was an incident where we were having a gala, an annual gala that they have, and we were with the conflict of the food delivery and all of that, and I was actually helping the manager at that point, and she was confused and didn't know what to do, and I just helped her manage and control that situation and just get a grasp on things while it was kind of falling apart. But we did manage it, and it was a successful day.
Oh, that's good. So how would you handle a customer who isn't happy with your services, even though you've done nothing wrong, and they're actually the ones who have made the mistake? So drawing on past experiences, even like team building in school, or whether it was work experiences, anything. Good. Take your time.
For example, there was this one client that wanted something from our service, but we could not provide it because we did not have that. We did not believe in that in the place that I was working, and it was actually an evolution spa within Seneca, and he was actually very disappointed with the service because we did not offer that one item. However, we did explain to him the benefits and the cons and pros of that item that he wanted, and further talking to him and discussing it, he did then understand that that is the reason why I did not use that during the service or why I did not perform that treatment, and then he understood it. It was all good.
Thank you. All right. So Tareem, how do you typically handle stress and pressure whether it's dealing with school, whether it's balancing like work, how do you prioritize under pressure and stress?
I actually work great under pressure. It's not something that makes me cave. It's something that actually helps me build even more. And I think that I'm a person who strives off of pressure. It does not mean that I procrastinate at all, but it does mean that if I'm faced with something that I'm uncomfortable with or it's just too much at once, I will find a way to make it work.
So describe a time when you had to interact with a difficult client. What was the situation and how did you handle it?
I've never really had a client that was difficult, but there have been situations where it was a little more of an effort that I had to put in because they were a little less understanding. Against that same customer is an example where he wanted something that we did not serve. It wasn't like a difficult customer, but it was just a little more that I had to put into, and I think that's every work, every job requires that.
All right, thank you. Okay, So this is more of a leadership kind of a question. So give me an example of a time you managed numerous responsibilities. How did you handle it?
When I was volunteering for Dior at Hudson Bay, I actually was a student. I was only in grade 11, but I was doing co-op from there. And there was times where the manager or even the associates were not working the counter, and I would take charge and I would help with the inventory. I would deal with clients, customers, and I would do almost all of that except for like the actual checking out because I was a student. So I used to manage almost all of it, the back room, and they actually hired me right after I was in my co-op because they were able to see that I was able to multitask and do such tasks that weren't even my responsibility.
Thank you. All right, so what is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness. I believe my greatest weakness would be that I'm a perfectionist. It is something that it really is something that I put onto myself, but because of that, my results and what I want, the outcome always comes out better, but it is something that it is a weakness to myself and not to the team or anyone else, that's for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so Tareem, in this kind of role, you are a team leader. So in this specific full-time esthetician role, so you're the team leader, so what would you do if the work of one of your subordinates or fellow team members was not up to expectation? How would you handle this?
Well, being the lead, I would definitely want to be someone who is friendly and talks to my fellow coworkers, and I would discuss with them privately and let them know that this is what their expectations are, this is what the role is, and if they are able to somehow manage it, and if they're having any difficulties, what those are, and we can hopefully work them out, and then further from there develop what we need, and just discuss with them what everything is required, and hopefully from then on we can build the relationship and let them know that this is what is needed to be done.
Okay, just to build more on this question, so what if one of your fellow team members came up to you, you gave them a task, and they said that they wouldn't be able to finish it at the time that you gave them? How would you go about handling this kind of situation?
Firstly, I would ask them why, just because I want to know what are the circumstances that they are putting themselves into and what the reasoning is. And if it is something that just cannot happen, I would let them at that moment know that it is okay. We'll discuss it after, just so that it doesn't interrupt the actual business part of our work. And then after that, I would talk to them and let them know that finishing tasks or services on time is part of our requirements, is what's expected. So we would definitely have to discuss that furthermore.
Thank you. All right, so Tareem, so if you have, so this is a question based on past experiences. So if you were hired as a full-time spa esthetician, so you've taken on more leadership roles in this specific spa. So after carefully reviewing some of the supplies that your company does need to order, you decide on going with a cheaper alternative and changing suppliers. So after presenting this change to your team, it seems like there's some disagreement within your team. So in this kind of scenario, what would you do in this case where some of your colleagues are against your choice and they're resisting the new idea you introduced?
Well, firstly, I would discuss to them the benefits of the new line, the new products that we are planning on bringing in, the pros, the cons, the benefit to our clients, of course, because they're our priority, and then the business part of it, and anything that can help us build our clientele and how that would benefit all of those aspects as well. And then just get their personal intel on why they believe that that product or that line is not good, why they don't want to bring it in, and what they see like bad in it. And then we would further, as a team, of course, discuss if it is something we want to further decide on and go with, or if it's something that we just want to push aside, maybe put a pin in it, and then come back maybe in the future when everyone is more on the same page.
Okay, so in this kind of leadership role, so what if there was a case where so everyone was on board with your idea except for one individual, they've been there, they're more tenured, and they just don't think that your choice is just the best for the company, for the spa itself, but your manager, so the manager above you, so whether it's the hiring manager, whether it's the store manager, they do want you to make a decision as soon as possible, get the team on board. How would you go about changing the mind of this one tenured esthetician?
Well, in your case for this company, I know it's a team of like 30 more employees, so based off of that, I would of course respect their decision, and I would talk to them why they believe in that, because they do clearly have experience. So I would talk to them individually and ask them why is it that you believe in that? What would you like to see, and their perspective on it. But I would not base one person's, even though they are, I would say, more advanced or more experienced, I would not base their sole opinion on something that would help benefit many more people and the company in general.
Okay, so that's all the questions I have for you. So just going back, is there anything you wanted to ask me about the position itself, like the company?
Well, just when exactly could I be hearing back?
So we are going to do a few more interviews the rest of the week. So you are looking at me reaching out maybe by the beginning of next week, like around Monday. Latest, I would say maybe Friday through email.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Any other questions for me?
No, that's all good.
All right. Thank you so much for meeting me.
Thank you so much.
Have yourself a wonderful day.
Bye. Take care.
I will now be doing the rating scale.